I'm going to give you a little heads up about the best Halloween handouts, and there are going to be some surprises in here, at least one or two, so just bear with me, all right? Maybe you're scrambling last minute, get some Halloween stuff to hand out to the kiddos. Let's do some ranking. First of all, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. They have to be on everyone's list. It could easily be number one on this list. If you just need a backup and you need something everyone likes, just get Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, because no one has ever bitten into a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup and said, ooh, that's gross. They're freaking wonderful. 2, Sour Patch Kids. Also could be number one, but a lot of people don't like the sour candies like I do. I'm a sour candy freak, so I love Sour Patch Kids, but Sour Patch Kids. 3, Skittles. A classic. Who doesn't like taking a handful of Skittles that will then stain your hand with all the different Skittle colors and then shoving them into your mouth and just gnawing on it very obnoxiously for 3, 4, 5 minutes? That's part of being a kid and maybe an adult. 2, why does nobody buy pixie sticks anymore? It's basically legal cocaine. These little straws with the delicious sugar in there, you used to open up as a kid and pour into your mouth before you go into a sugar-induced coma and drive your parents crazy. Pixie sticks are amazing. Now, last, something you don't do and should do. You know what's underrated? Going against the grain. Surprising people. Being different. Why do you watch this show? Is this show like other shows? No, it's different. You know what every kid is going to get when they go to the houses tonight? Candy. I'm going to get candy here and candy there and Reese's here and Sour Patch Kids here, and he's gave me a Snickers and candy. You know what you need after too much sweet? A little savory. So here's what you're going to do tonight. You're going to go to the store. You're going to buy some mozzarella sticks, and you're going to spend the evening deep frying fresh batches of mozzarella sticks and handing mozzarella sticks out to the kiddos. Mark my words, when you've been getting candy all night and an adult hands you a mozzarella stick, as good as it gets. Pandemic amnesty. Forgiving one another. You understand, I'm about to read you heartbreaking stories, but you understand that America was revealed under COVID, talking about stress tests, to be a tyranny. You already live in a tyranny. Oh, I know most of the lockdowns and requirements and mandates, most, not all, but most have gone away. I get that now, so it doesn't feel like you live in a tyranny. But if you live in a country where politicians can point at you and say, you're not essential, close your business, you shouldn't be out on the beach, you're arrested, you're a pastor doing church, you're under arrest, that you live in a tyranny. That's a tyranny. You already live in one. That make you uncomfortable? Made me uncomfortable. It was horrific watching it. And I'm not kind to tyrants. I don't forgive and forget tyrants, not ever. Tyrants are the worst human beings in the history of the world. Powerful people who crush the powerless. You'll get no forgiveness here. You'll get no amnesty here. Now, maybe if you have a public trial and after you're convicted when you're on the way to prison for the rest of your life, maybe if you get on your knees in front of me and beg me for forgiveness for what you've done, maybe in that moment I will forgive and then send you off to prison. But don't think for a second you're going to do the things I'm about to read to you and just to say, hey, let's let bygones be bygones. You want to hear some stories? You want to know why we need a reckoning? These are your stories. First day as a cop was 6 months into business shutdowns and lockdowns. Responded to a murder-suicide of a father that lost his job and killed himself and his 7-year-old son. Record high child suicides that year will haunt me forever. Oh, there's a lot more. Like I said, get your tissues ready. My mom's physician closed his in-person practice for a year, resulting in my mom losing her eyesight. She has macular degeneration and requires monthly eye injections and didn't receive them. She's now legally blind with no way to restore her vision. Another. Got to stand outside my father's hospital room on the lawn and watch him pass away. Alone. My 30-year-old son-in-law couldn't see a doctor for a sharp pain in the belly. The Zoom doctor told him he had kidney stones. 7 months later, he could finally see a doctor. Diagnosed with stage 4 terminal kidney cancer. No diagnosis or chemo per lockdown. Now is metastatic My daughter is devastated. We all are. I'm going to keep going. But I just want you to understand there's more of these, and I don't want you to try to run away from the pain and sadness and anger you're feeling right now. I want you to let it wash over you, and I want you to remember these things didn't happen. These things were done to you. People with names did these things to you. Republicans and Democrats did these things to you. Public health officials. Parents did them to their children. Children did them to their parents. Brothers did it against sisters and other brothers. These things were done to you by people. Let us continue. Oh gosh, I forgot about this one. One of my listeners named Ben sent in a picture, actually. What was the picture? It was Ben FaceTiming with his father as his father died in the hospital in Christmas of 2020. Brenda writes, our autistic daughter greatly suffered during lockdowns. She couldn't get appointments she needed, and for a child that does not speak, wearing masks from workers trying to help with speech was utterly pointless. Much needed help she could have received, but nothing mattered but COVID. All right, you thought all that was really bad? Last year, on February 9th on my radio show, as you can imagine, I like to laugh and have fun on my radio show just like we do here. But I decided to dedicate an entire episode to this. I called it The Reckoning. It was 3 hours of your stories of this stuff. And I even opened up the phones that night. And I don't know how long I'm going to live on this planet. Probably 60, 70 years. That's generally when the Kelly men check out. I will go to my grave and I will remember this phone call. This is the phone call of a father. It's a little hard to hear because he's so choked up and weeping. This is a phone call of a father who has a 6'5", severely autistic son who needed regular therapy, was denied it because of COVID, and now this 6'5" autistic son has descended into psychosis and physically attacks his mother and father every single day. Can you even imagine what that is like?
So,
it's all right, John. It's okay.
18-year-old special needs student, autistic. He's never recovered. He's alive. He just couldn't go back to school. He's 20 now. He's 6'5". I'm 6'4". He's in psychosis. He attacks us. He attacks us almost every day because he's in psychosis.
John, you just you don't have to say anymore. You don't have to say anymore. Everyone just heard you. Don't have to say anymore.
Everybody, it's heartbreaking.
I
I
can't even imagine. God bless you, my brother.
Jesse.
God bless you. All right.
Amnesty? You want to move on? I'm not moving on. I will never move on. I demand a reckoning. And do keep in mind, while all these stories were happening, John Lewis got a massive funeral. While you couldn't bury your mother or your father, you said goodbye on FaceTime. John Lewis died, and there they all gathered, every scumbag in the world, shoulder to shoulder, to praise the saintly John Lewis. You see, your dad didn't matter. Your mom didn't matter. Your grandpa, brother, sister, they didn't matter. They weren't important. John Lewis, though, COVID apparently, COVID was good enough to get away from the John Lewis funeral. I want to once again tell you these things didn't happen. these things were done to you. Speaking of setting a narrative, we had Halloween a couple nights ago, Halloween. And you know something? It's funny. I have cameras all around my home. It's basic security. I'm a security freak. Every single inch of my home is covered by security cameras. Many of the places around my home, they're covered by 2 security cameras. I have security cameras everywhere. That's pretty standard security. And do you know that right now, if I wanted to show you video of the kids who showed up to my house dressed as crayons, it was a brother and sister, they were 2 different colors of crayons. Do you know that I could do it right now as I talk to you on the air? I could pull it up and show you a video of the kids. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to show you a picture of someone else's kids, but I could. But I just can't believe this is real. You know, the Pelosis in San Francisco, you know, they have cameras all around too. All around. As you can imagine, Speaker of the House. Huge security concerns, so they've got cameras everywhere. And the cameras, I just can't believe it. The cameras are monitored by the Capitol Police. Of course. So if I can show you the crayon kids in 5 minutes, why have we not seen any video at all of the attack? I mean, it's this dangerous MAGA Republican guy, right? Who broke in there like Jason Bourne and low-crawled up the stairs and, well, show me the video. I mean, and forget about the home videos that they have. The San Francisco police have to wear body cameras. They have to. They're required. Where are those videos? No videos, huh? But maybe you're sitting there saying to yourself, no, Jesse, but they're going to come out soon. They'll put those out soon. Well, it's funny you should bring that up because today, the Capitol Police, I'm not making this up, the Capitol Police, it's their job to monitor those videos at the Pelosi home. The Capitol Police came out today and said, oh, dang it. Ugh. I feel terrible. We weren't watching. And apparently they not only weren't watching, the Pelosi's have less of a security system than I have because they weren't watching and apparently they weren't recording either. Oh, that video? Got lost. Dog ate my homework. Gosh. So, look, that's why guys like Gavin Newsom are trying for this.
When an 82-year-old man is attacked by an intruder in his own home, they don't seem to be too bothered by that because that person is married to the Speaker of the House, who's of a different political party. I just want your viewers, and really I would like every American, just to stop and think about that. This is the kind of violent rhetoric that leads to violent action, that props up authoritarians, and that's unfortunately what we see the Republican Party today supporting.
It's the entire ecosystem of that promotes violence, that promotes violent words, and then now both promotes it and also other people who just let it slide.
I don't think Carrie Lake and Ted Cruz are going to come to anybody's home and threaten them. Their silence and their jokes are giving people a green light out there. A lot of crazy people who are following conspiracy theories online. It's almost like whack-a-mole for law enforcement and people who are trying to track this down.
Look online. Look at the sewage that is online that they amplify on these networks and in social media to dehumanize people like Nancy Pelosi and other political leaders.
Dehumanizing people. Like calling them Nazis, white supremacists. That'd be ugly if we lived in a society where that took place, right? Dehumanizing. I'm sorry I'm dehumanizing you. I do have to give my boy J.D. Vance props. This is pretty well done here.
I think the effort to turn this into a political issue actually is a real problem here because Paul Pelosi was attacked. Look, Paul Pelosi was attacked by a person who's an illegal alien in our country, should have never been here in the first place. My view, very simply, is that we need to deport violent illegal aliens, okay? And when an illegal alien attacks Paul Pelosi, it's tragic and it's terrible, but it's not reflective of Republicans. It's reflective of the fact that we let way too many violent people live freely in our country.
That's so well done. Miranda, what is he? I mean, you've been so great at covering this. Your Hunter Biden laptop coverage has been frigging fantastic. That laptop from Hell book is awesome. But what is Joe Biden? And this is what I mean by this. The Democratic Party's clearly gone far left, but they run the gamut, right? Some are just stupid, some are corrupt, some are committed communists, some are, it runs the gamut. Who is this guy?
He's just a politician, a career politician who has been a grifter and a liar all his life. I mean, I hate to say that about the president, but I think it's clear to everybody that he's a pathological, compulsive liar. It went back to his early days when he tried to run for president and failed, when he was caught out plagiarizing, lying about his academic record. The lies are always about big noting himself. There's a deep insecurity there. He comes from not a hard Scrabble family at all, like he makes out, but he certainly there was problems at home. His father may have been an alcoholic, and he was put up on a pedestal as the oldest of 4 children by his mother, and the entire family just served Joe Biden, and everything he wanted, they revolved around him. And so, of course, when he went into politics, his family was there. And this was a family that was not just doing noble deeds to help, a brother go into public service. This was a family who was in on a multi-million-dollar grift. Joe Biden leveraged his position as the senator from the big corporate state, or the small state, very weird state of Delaware. But it is the home of all these corporates. So there was money sloshing around for a guy with no ethics and no morals to, get into. He was in the Senate. He had some quite powerful roles that were given to him by his friends who were actually segregationists, and I guess older men who felt sorry for him because he'd had a genuine tragedy at the beginning of his career. But he milked that tragedy, his wife and his daughter being killed in a car crash. He used that photograph where, I'm sorry, but I have to say now, 40-some years later, that he was exploiting his 2 injured sons in the hospital bed, Hunter and Beau, when he got a photo taken of himself, invited the cameraman into their hospital room to get sworn in. Now, he could have done it in the corridor, but he decided he wanted those children, those injured, bandaged little boys, to be in the foreground of this photograph and tug the heartstrings of America. And it worked. He got sympathy and empathy, and he used that photograph in every campaign since. So that's the man he is. He's, corrupt, he's dishonest, and he goes, whatever works for Joe Biden, he will do or be anything.
He still does it, Miranda. I know you see this. He still does it with Beau all the time. All the time. I mean, I couldn't imagine losing a child. If I lost one of my sons, I would die. But It is a routine on the campaign trail now. It's just as natural as breathing for him to use Beau Biden to try to get a bump in the polls. It seems so sick.
Well, yeah, and look, it's incredibly sad what happened to his family, the car crash, and then later on, Beau, who was the golden child. I mean, Joe Biden had put all his stock in this son that was going to take on the Biden dynasty and be president, and was going to be squeaky clean, while Hunter, the wayward child, was deputized to be the bad man. And then Beau died, and that was a devastating blow to Joe Biden in a sort of a narcissistic sense, as well as, I guess, a paternal sense. And Beau's death and his wife and his daughter's death much earlier, they had been used very usefully to him, very successfully by him, to boost his popularity, to draw the prayers of compassionate strangers. And so you can see him now that he's cognitively not all there. He's not as good at Blarney as he used to be. He gets caught up in his lies more than he used to, although he was never very good at it. And now you see him desperately trying for these old tricks, and they just don't work because people have now seen through them. And once you've seen through them, there's just, I find it very difficult to feel sorry for him, although I know I should. I mean, the man is almost 80 years old. He shouldn't be in this position, but I feel more sorry for us. I feel more sorry for America that has a president that is putting us all at risk, the world at risk of a nuclear catastrophe, because he has no ability to act diplomatically or sensibly. And if anyone thinks that people behind the scenes who are more competent are running this administration, they just had to listen to that speech last night. That was vintage Joe Biden. This is not something you would do if you were a savvy political strategist. It was a disaster to be berating the voters the way he was, berating the American people. Such an ugly, angry speech. All it would do is solidify the people who decided to vote against Democrats and vote against Joe Biden. But he's out of control. No one can control him.
Don't miss Jesse Kelly Breaks History, The Forgotten Genocide, the first episode of a new series available now exclusively for First TV supporters. Visit the First TV app or thefirsttv.com to subscribe and start watching today.